I get it. You don't have time to become a Facebook ads ninja, but you also don't have the budget to hire an agency to manage your ads. So what is one to do? Well, guess what? Today I'm going to show you how in just 15 minutes a day you can properly optimize your ads. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so here we are inside of an ad account and looking at the default settings that Meta gives you. So the issue with the default settings that Meta gives you is that it's not super insightful, right? So it gives us our number of results, reach impressions, cost per result, amount spent, and then if the campaign is ongoing and what the schedule actually looks like. So these metrics right here are important for sure, but I wouldn't say that they are the end all be all for the metrics that you want to be looking at. You want to be adding some other ones on there. I personally look at lots and lots and lots of metrics. And so what I'm going to do, I'm distilling this down to the absolute most crucial ones. If I had to eliminate all other metrics and just choose a few to look at, these are the ones that I would choose. And so what you want to do to modify this is that you go over to the columns menu and we're going to click on customize columns right here. And then right off the bat, the first thing that you want to actually do is actually get rid of some things. Some things in here just aren't helpful at all. So get rid of the last significant edit right here, the bid strategy right there, and then ends and schedule. And then we're also going to move some things around. We're going to move amount spent over after budget because that makes sense. What's your daily budget? How much have you actually spent? We're going to get rid of the attribution setting. Again, I'm not saying that some of these things are not important. I'm just simplifying this and distilling this down to the absolute most important things that you want to be looking at so that your attention is focused. And then I'm going to move cost per result right after result. And then I'm going to leave that right there. So right off the bat, we're a little bit more organized, right? Because we're starting off with our budget. How much have we actually spent of that budget? What are our results, cost per results? And then how many people have we gotten in front of? But we do want to be adding a few more just so that we are looking at the most critical metrics. So I'm going to go in here and type in CPM, and I'm going to go ahead and select that. Then I'm going to type in CTR. There are a lot of different CTR metrics, and many of them actually are very, very good. And I do look at them, but again, I'm simplifying this to the most crucial one. So in this case, I'm just going to select CTR link click-through rate. Then I'm going to select link clicks right there. And then I'm going to select landing page views, just total. I don't need to do value or cost. And then lastly, I'm going to do frequency and go ahead and select that right there. So now I want to move some of these around again. I want these engagement rankings, these ranking metrics to be all the way at the bottom. So I'm just going to drag these all the way down to the bottom. And the reason I'm doing that is because they only apply to the ad. So when you're looking at the campaign level or ad set level, it's not very useful at all. Then we're going to take a look at right here. So we have reach impressions, CPM, CTR, link clicks, landing page views. All of that is actually already in the perfect order. And then you can save this as a preset, right? So I'm teaching you how to do this in 15 minutes a day. If you have to manually do this every single day, you're going to go over 15 minutes, but luckily you can save this as a preset. So I'm going to just call this the quick view, right? Because again, normally I do look at a lot more metrics, but if I were to distill down to the absolute most important ones, these are the ones that I want to be taking a look at. So now, well, a couple things we've done here. One, we've added some more critical metrics in here, and we're looking at everything in a very sequential order. Right? At the very top, our budget, amount spent, results, cost per result. And then how many people did we get in front of? How much are we paying to get in front of those people? What were the results of getting in front of those people? So on and so forth. So it's in a very sequential order right here. So when you first log in for this 15-minute a day strategy, you only need to check your ads twice, in the morning and then once in the late afternoon / early evening, right? Typically I do it right before I kind of end my work day. That's how I look at it, right? So just twice a day. You do not have to be jumping in here multiple times a day, obsessing over the numbers and stuff like that. So just twice a day. And in the morning session, it's going to be a little bit longer, right? So when we're breaking down the 15-minute a day strategy, the morning session should be about 10 minutes. And then the afternoon / evening session should be about 5 minutes to give you your 15 minutes total right there. So when you first log in, make sure you're looking at the view that we just set up right here. And the first thing you obviously want to do is look at today's metrics, right? How are things going today? Are the ads even on? Has something blown up and your results are just completely out the window? Always be in the know of what's going on in your ad account at any given moment. So I look at today and I look at my results, obviously without any context. These results may or may not mean anything, but for this account that I do look at a lot, these are some good results right here. I'm getting purchases for under $10. All right. So I'm looking at today. I can tell that everything is fine. Nothing is on fire, so to speak. So then I'm going to look at yesterday's metrics and I'm going to compare that. Oh my goodness, yesterday we were paying pretty much double or almost double of what we are paying today. So that is something I am definitely paying attention to, but I'm not panicking just yet because it's important not to obsess the results of any single day with it when it comes to Facebook ads. You want to look at trends. A positive trend is a great thing. A negative trend is a very bad thing. Any single individual day that's not showing a trend, I really don't worry about it. So in order to accomplish that, I'm then going to go to, after I hit yesterday, I'm going to look at this week's view, right? So this will give me a Sunday to whatever today is. Today is Monday, so it's only giving me 2 days of data, but now it's averaging everything out. And then I'm also going to compare that to the last 7 days. So I can see actually a couple things from looking at this view. I can see actually the trend, it is getting cheaper, the cost per result. Because if I'm at last 7 days, I'm at $14 cost per result. If I'm looking at this week, I'm $13. Yesterday it's more expensive, but then today is at $9, $9.96 to be exact. So I'm actually seeing a positive trend here in terms of cost per purchase going down. So now we are, hanging on to something that we're looking at a positive trend right here. So what might be causing that trend? Now we have to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive and look at all of our other metrics in terms of what that trend is. Before we dive into those metrics, though, I want to make sure you understand what each of these actually means. So reach is the number of unique individuals that your ads have been shown to today, right? So 3,834 today, or whatever time range that you're looking at. So if we do last 7 days, 61,266 unique individuals have seen these ads. The impressions, on the other hand, that's the total number of times that anyone has seen your ad, whether it's the same person over and over again. So basically, just by doing some simple visual math right here, over the last 7 days, I can tell that because of the fact that I've gotten in front of 61,000 unique individuals and I have 119,000, almost 120,000 impressions, pretty much everyone within this 61,000 group has seen these ads twice over the last 7 days. And I can confirm that with the frequency number over here. That's what that number stands for, 1.96. It means that people have seen the ads on average 1.96 over the last 7 days, right? And so it always changes based upon the date range. If I go the last 14 days, 2.34 times over the last 14 days, last 30 days, 2.69 times. And if I go to this week, 1.27 times people have seen these ads over that time period. So that's what reach and impressions stand for. And then also in relation to frequency, CPM is your cost per 1,000 impressions. So right here, back to the impressions level, in order to get 1,000 impressions, how much money do you have to pay? In this case, this client has to pay $10.59. There's a lot of variability in terms of what a normal CPM is from industry to industry. So if you're looking at that and you're concerned that your CPM is a lot higher, there's a very good chance that you're just in a much more competitive space. That's all. Then your link click-through rate is the percentage of people who actually see your ad and click over to your website. So 2.3%, 2.34% of people who actually see the ad, click on the ad in order to go over to the web page. That's very good. I always tell people shoot for a minimum of 1%. We're more than double than that, so we're actually at a very healthy level right here. And then lastly, we have our link clicks and our landing page views. So link clicks, pretty straightforward. How many people actually clicked over to our website, the total number. And then landing page views, how many people of those people actually make it to the page? So 2,809 people have clicked over the last 7 days, but only 1,517 people have made it. So I like to look at both of those numbers simply because you want at least 80% of your link clicks becoming a landing page view. If you're beneath that, which we are right here, by the way, then you know there's an issue. Now, this is actually a known issue with this client. It's something that we're surely trying to improve. He's got a very big, heavy website. So the pages do take a long time to load, but at least we are aware of it. So we are trying to push towards that 80% threshold. But same thing here. If you're seeing a huge drop off and you're under 80%, it likely means that your page is loading very slowly. So see what you can do to your page to speed, get rid of that video, use smaller image sizes, whatever it might be, anything that to speed up the page load time is a good thing. Okay, cool. So now that we have that out of the way in terms of the definitions of these metrics, how do we actually go about analyzing them? So we saw earlier that the cost per purchase is going down as a trend over the last 7 days. What is causing that? Let's see if we can figure that out. So here I'm looking at all these metrics over the last 7 days. Okay, great. So my CPM is 1059, 234, I'm kind of just keeping mental notes of these things. So let me go over to this week. So my CPM has actually gone up. So that's not helping me. It's gone up by more than $1. So that actually tends to make things more expensive. But simultaneously, my link click-through rate has also gone up by from 2.64, I believe, to 2.82. So that's a positive trend. So we have a negative trend and a positive trend going on in terms of those two metrics. Obviously, the positive trend of the increase is outweighing the negative trend of the CPM because our cost per purchase is going down. So then I'm going to go to yesterday. So once again, our CPM continues to climb 11.87, but also our CTR link continues to climb as well. Now we're at 2.90. And if I look at today's metrics, we're at 11.54. So we've seen a little bit of a drop and also a little bit of a drop of the link click-through rate. But overall, we are seeing an increase, a slow increase. It's not a crazy increase of CPM over the last 7 days, but also an increase in click-through rate. And so because of the fact that we're seeing the trend of the lowering cost per purchase over the last 7 days, that tells me that the rising increase in the link click-through rate is what is contributing to the drop in the cost per purchase, which is a great thing. Now, I'm also noting that the CPM is going up. Now, luckily, it isn't really affecting the metrics for cost per purchase as of yet, but that doesn't mean it won't. So that's something that I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on over the course of the next few days. Okay, cool. So now that we have looked at this at the ad set level, you also want to look at this at the ad level. I'm not going to repeat that whole exercise again because it would be the same deal of looking at today, yesterday, this week, last 7 days. But you also want to see the variability between the ads because obviously here we're looking at an average of all the ads. Now there could be a really interesting trend going on at the ad level that will tell me I should, turn something on, turn it off, whatever it might be. So repeat that whole same process at the ad level as well. All right, so there you have it. That is your morning session review. Like I said, make sure that is the very first thing you do when you get to your computer. Really shouldn't take more than 10 minutes time. Obviously, your very first time, it probably will take longer, but once you get through these motions, I promise you, you're going to be able to read through this data very, very quickly and very rapidly identify any kind of trend, whether it's positive or negative, going on inside your ad account. So over time, it should take you about 10 minutes. And then in the evening session, we're going to keep it about 90% the same. There's not going to be too much of a difference. So let's go ahead and take a look at the screen again. All right, so we're back. Let's pretend now that it is early evening / late afternoon, whenever it's convenient for you to check things. Now we're going to repeat the process again, but in less detail, right? Because we already know the trend going on over the last 7 days, right? So when I go to last 7 days in the late afternoon / early evening, I'm not going to get different data. I mean, the numbers might be slightly different because Meta can make corrections, but it's never going to be anything drastic. So there's really no point in me going to the last 7 days this week. I'm really only going to be looking at today's data. So obviously these numbers are exactly the same, but obviously I'm going to compare these in a different scenario. Do this at the very end of the day. Am I still getting a 996 cost per purchase? Are my key metrics over here so roughly the same level right there? But in the afternoons, I do place a greater emphasis at the ad level. So in the mornings, I place a greater emphasis at the ad set level. I still do take a look at the ads, but in order to make proper adjustments, a lot can change in just an 8-hour window at the ad level. And so I do want to take a look at that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this right here. We are having a good day. So all the purchases are coming from this one ad right here, 972. And so I know also that that is the one that's getting the better results over the last 7 days by a very, very large margin. And so today is just a reconfirmation that that is going on. I look at all my numbers and I try to see what actually is going on here. What's interesting is that this ad that is underperforming has a significantly higher click-through rate. I'm not talking about marginally higher. I'm talking about a significantly higher click-through rate, 2.55 compared to 4.04. It does have a higher CPM as well, although I don't think that would be the sole cause of a drastic difference in the cost per purchase. So that's really interesting for me to note. So what that tells me is that there's a message mismatch with this ad right here. It's doing a phenomenal job, better than this ad over here, at capturing people's attention. But then once they get over to the landing page, there's a mismatch, right? For whatever reason, it's not what they expected when they saw from the ad. So that tells me, okay, cool. I need to either just turn this ad off or I need to edit the ad to make sure that there's a match between the expectation from the ad over to the landing page and make a modification that way. That would be my preferred route simply because I like having a nice high click-through rate of 4.04. So if I can keep that click-through rate but increase the conversion rate once they make it to the page, that is a winning formula right there. So again, in my 15-minute formula here towards the end of the day, what I might do is that once I see the confirmation of that nothing has changed at the end of the day, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to click on edit, and I'll modify whether it's the creative, the copy, whatever it might be. In this scenario, since my goal is to keep it as close as possible to a 4% click through, I'm going to not make any major changes. I'm going to make small tweaks to it just to make sure I can hang on to that click through rate and hopefully get some better results on the back end. All right, so there you have it. 10 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon or early evening, and you will be well on your way to very effectively managing your ad campaigns. Like I said, there's actually a lot more metrics that I do personally analyze, but if you were to tell me, okay, I can only look at a handful of them, these are the ones that I would choose, and I would still be able to get very good results. So hopefully you found this helpful and useful, and I would even say hopeful. That way you can be confident that you yourself can manage your Facebook ads campaign. As always, if you have any questions about this or anything else I cover on this channel, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.